Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Smoky Mountain Mustang Football Show with head coach JT Postell. And Coach, I've got to do this before we start talking about football, if you don't mind. There are two Smoky Mountain Mustang alums who are in the news this week. Pitcher Zebby Matthews, who played at Smoky Mountain, Western Carolina, is now with the Minnesota Twins. He was named the pitcher of the game or the player of the game last night. And of course, everybody in the world, I think, knows what Cal Raleigh is doing, and anybody associated ever with Smoky Mountain High School and these guys, they've got to be so proud of what these guys are accomplishing at the highest level of sports.
Yeah, and it's really neat to see those guys and the success that they're having. I remember Cal a little bit, from years ago, and it's really not from the baseball side of things. Cal was an outstanding basketball player. And, I
Yes.
remember watching him play basketball. And if I'm not mistaken, I know one game at Tuscola, I think he had about 26 points and 24 rebounds. So, he was really good on the basketball side of things too. But no, those guys are, like I said, doing some good stuff. And it's neat to see that. And it's good for our young kids to see that as well.
It really is because it's just a rare thing for athletes, male or female, from the small areas we live in here in the mountains of Western North Carolina, to play and have success at that high level. Because as a coach and being around athletes, you know how hard it is to accomplish that.
It is. It's extremely hard, but you see guys like that, like you mentioned, come from these small communities, and having one seems to be rare. But now you've got two of these guys doing it at the highest levels, and but I think it gives your young people some hope, and it shows that if you're something you're really after, you really want to do, if you'll continue to work hard, and good things can happen.
No question. So our hats off to Mustangs, Cal Raleigh, and Zebby Matthews. I'm going to drop some other names here, Coach, from football last week. Of course, the Mustangs with a big win over East Henderson. I think it was maybe pretty much over early as the Mustangs dominated. We had some kids, and I'll probably forget a couple, but Riley Smith opened up with a long run, then scored a touchdown. East Henderson fumbled, I think, on their first possession, and the Mustangs recovered in the red zone. And here goes Riley Smith again for another touchdown and a 2-point conversion. It was quickly 16-0. Then Jackson Cooper got loose for a 23-yard touchdown run and added the 2 points. And Riley came back with another 4-yard touchdown run. Hunter Cole chipped in with a couple of points. And then, boy, Aiden Foxworth really broke one. I think it was 69-yard touchdown run. And then Hampton Ryan got in some of the play in that fourth quarter with a touchdown. And not to mention all the names here, Coach, but obviously the Mustangs came out and really were focused and played well early in that game.
We did, and that was one thing we stressed throughout the week is, we just wanted to go out and have really good focus, and we wanted to execute. And that's really what I told them before the game and kind of throughout the week is execution and play with great effort. And it doesn't matter who you're lining up and playing. And, we're all capable of doing those things. And I thought after the first drive, they got the ball first, and then our defense held them on a fourth down, and we were able to score fairly quickly. But then it was good to see our special teams on the kickoff create a turnover, and we recovered and we scored right away. And then, like you said, it was 16-0. And I think, from then on, our kids were in it, and it was just kind of all about business for them at that point. But we did a lot of good things. Like I said, I really thought we did execute well. We got to play a lot of people, which is always really good to see because you have a lot of guys who work extremely hard throughout the week. Just guys that are giving us a scout team look, and those guys got to get a lot of reps the other night, and especially in the second half. I think we played all those guys in the second half, took all of our starters out pretty much. And so it was really good, and I thought our kids did a great job.
Coach, I know it's easy sometimes, especially if you're coming off a tough game. Sometimes it's easy to overlook an opponent that's struggling somewhat, like East Henderson is, and those kids play hard, but they're having a tough year. And I think it says a lot that the Mustangs really did come out and they didn't overlook anybody. They took it seriously, and they got to work early and worked hard at it.
They did, and I thought our kids had coming off the Pisgah game, but I thought our kids had a great week of practice. I really did. I thought they were dialed in and focused all week, and I thought everything leading up to kickoff Friday night was good. Thought our pregame was really good. So I just felt like we were in a good place mentally with our kids, and they were just looking forward to an opportunity to play, and they played very well.
Oh, no doubt. And obviously, we mentioned some of the touchdown guys like Riley and Jackson and Aiden and those guys. But for those guys to have all that success, you got to have good play at the line of scrimmage, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and you know that very well. For us, the kind of offense that we like to run, which we're certainly run first, and that's what we believe in. But you got to have guys up front getting the job done for you, because if they don't, it really doesn't matter what type of offense you run. But we've got some tremendous guys. We got some young guys.
Yeah.
You got Lane Crawford, who's a junior, C.J. Grant, who is a junior, Levi Kirkendall is a sophomore, Jake Bradley is a sophomore, Eli Stonecipher is a junior. And then our tight ends, Hunter Cole's a junior, Eli Snyder's a junior. We played Braden Logan, who's a junior. So those guys do a tremendous job for us. But then on the flip side of that, we've been trying to build some depth along our line, especially our OL and DL. And by playing some young guys this year, we've been really able to focus guys like Noah McKnight and Josiah Ward, who were big-time players for us last year. They're playing just primarily defense for us this year along that defensive line. But that's allowed us to keep those guys fresh, which is something that we're working really hard for. But I think it benefits us.
Oh wow, that's a good position to be in, Coach. With those young guys getting better every week. We want to thank, of course, our friends at Smoky Mountain Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy, Carlisle Schaumburg, and of course Jared Boone, who helps us get this program going. Coach, to turn the page, obviously a big conference win over East Henderson. Next up. Man, just across the mountain, those old Mountaineers that you're familiar with, they're coming off a tough loss. Looking at what they did with West Henderson last week, Tuscola had a lot of penalties. They gave up several quarterback sacks in that loss. And they had a hard time stopping Zane McCraw, who had 200 yards and then intercepted one and brought back for a touchdown. Falcon quarterback Cade Young, I think, 11 of 20, 184 yards and a touchdown. But I think Jonathan Crompton was really, really concerned about their lack of protection for the quarterback and their penalties. So, like every coach, I know that's something they're going to work on to get ready for this week.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that they will. And look, we're going to have our hands full with them. They've got some really talented players, and I know that they're well coached. And that's a school with a lot of tradition, and they're going to look to bounce back. And they present a lot of challenges for us with what they do offensively. They like to throw the football around. But they've also got some capable running backs, and I think they're running the football a little bit more this year than they did in the past. But defensively, Coach Hawkins, who's their defensive coordinator, who I think a lot of people are familiar with, he does a great job on the defensive side, and those guys play hard. So, it's going to be a tough one. We know that, and like I said, but we feel like we've had a pretty good week so far, and but we expect a tough ball game Friday night.
Yeah, Coach, talking about the way West Henderson pressured Tuscola's quarterback last week, I'm sure your D line and your linebackers, of course, the secondary is going to be tested with their passing game. They do like to throw it some, but I'm guessing your D line and linebackers are really, really going to have to be on their toes to try to pressure this quarterback.
Definitely will be. And, we don't, one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to just let him sit back there and have all the time in the world to get to throw the football, because that puts a lot of pressure on your secondary. So, we're going to have to try to create some pressure and try to get to him a little bit and maybe force them to do some things that they don't necessarily want to do. But like I said, we know it's going to be a tough ball game, and it's going to be a tough ball game for 4 quarters.
Yeah, no doubt. The one good thing, you're back at home there at Carper Stadium and Babe Howell Field, and that's worth something right there, isn't it?
It is, and that's really nice. And I know our kids are looking forward to that. We've been road warriors for the past 3 weeks, and but that's okay. And I thought our kids handled that well. But it is going to be really nice to be back at home this Friday.
No doubt, Coach. I was just looking at the schedule down the road, and you can't put the cart before the horse. You got to take them one game at a time. But this conference is so hard. We get Tuscola this week, then we go on the road to Brevard, then West Henderson, then Franklin, then North Henderson. I tell you what, every week's just a battle, isn't it?
It is every week. It is just presents all sorts of challenges, and and it's going to be tough each and every week. That's why this conference is, I think, from top to bottom, it's so deep this year, and
Yeah.
there's so many good football teams and good coaches and good players, and so every week, you better come prepared just to give yourself a chance, because if not, things were not going to go good for you.
No doubt. We were talking a minute ago about the physical therapy and sports medicine. I'm hoping all the guys are pretty healthy. I know this time of the year everybody has their bumps and bruises, but hopefully nothing serious for the Mustangs physically getting ready for this game.
No, I think we've been pretty fortunate so far, which is a good thing. Knock on wood. We hope that continues. But like everybody, we have some guys who are bruised and banged up, and that's to be expected. But we have really quality people that that look after these guys and take care of them and provide them opportunities to come in and get treatment. So we're super thankful for that.
Yeah, Tuscola coming in, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there a little bit. So, I'm sure they're going to be motivated to try to get back on the track in this conference because, man, I'm not sure anybody's going to run the table in this conference. I mean, the conference winner could even have two losses. So, but every week is just bigger than the week before, isn't it?
It is, and, to me, every week, especially from here on, it's just brutal. I
Yeah.
mean, but that's just what it is, and you hopefully, as coaches, you feel like you've got a good plan in place, and that your kids are ready to compete at the highest level, and that's something we talk about all week. Is we've got to be dialed in and focused because we from this point on, it's every week is just such a huge game.
It really is. And Coach, last year, I know you guys, of course, that was a different team. You graduated a lot of seniors, but you got a piece of that pie. You got a piece of the Mountain 7 conference last year, Mountain 7 before Brevard joined in. But just to get a piece of that conference championship is big, and I'm sure you guys remember that. And hey, they want some more of that, don't they?
They do, and and the guys returning certainly remember that, and that was certainly a very special season. And given all the circumstances that happened during last season, that was a special group. But this year is as well. Now, like I've said before, I love this team. Like I said, we have so few seniors. But the seniors we do have, they're great young men, and then our underclassmen are just they've been unbelievable and jumping in and trying to fill into roles that maybe at the start of the season they weren't necessarily ready for. But we just kind of threw them to the fire a little bit, but they're getting better and better, and that's one reason we're excited for the future.
Yeah, Coach, how important is senior leadership? You mentioned that, and it seems like a lot of the really good teams have that strong senior leadership. So obviously, that's a really big part of that winning tradition, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's always, as a coach, that's something you always, you talk about and you look for who the guys are going to step up. And I think a lot of that happens in your off season. Yeah, you start to see those type of personalities come forward and guys that can be leaders. And we certainly do have some seniors this year that were able to jump in and fill that void for us. But at the same time, we've got so many juniors on this team this year. That we've had a lot of those guys who are developing into those type of roles too, which as a coach, it's really great to see.
No doubt. Coach, we appreciate, as always, chatting with you. I know you just got finished up with a team meal here
Yeah.
on Wednesday night as we do the program. But, hey, good luck on Friday. And, man, I tell you what, the fans, they're going to see some good football Friday night. So good luck to you and the Mustangs.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time once again. But I do want to say one thing really quick because you mentioned it about our team meal every Wednesday. We have the greatest group of team moms that I've ever been associated with, and the things that they do, not only for the coaches, but for all these players. It's so special, and we really appreciate them.
Oh, no doubt. Those kind of folks are hard to find, but, man, you
Yes,
love them because they do so much, don't they?
they do so much, and like I've told them before, they make my job so much easier. So I'm so grateful for them.
Hey, thanks for all the folks who chip in on that. That's a wonderful thing. And Coach, hey, we'll talk next week, and that'll be Brevard. And man, as we mentioned, every week's tough, but hey, one at a time. Tuscola Friday.
One at a time. Yes, sir. Thank you again.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Uh-huh.